Howdy, howdy. This is Peter Palmiotti, and this is Making Comics Art, episode 269. And, okay, so there was a little confusion earlier, but just in case you saw Allison was going to be joining us, we'll do another episode with all three of us because there's reasons behind that. But Allison couldn't make it tonight, and yeah, technology's fault.
What?
But
we love Allie. We love Allie, and we're looking forward to doing another one with her. Yeah.
Yeah, but Laurie's here with me tonight, and we're talking about this little book,
Ooh.
Path of the Pale Rider.
That's right.
And I read it, and I you know what I like about it? It's not flashy. It's an introduction, and it gets
we have to, right?
In the tone of it, and like you said, like I really love the artist's work. So
thank you.
Pretty cool stuff. And you got a lot of stuff to share. So do I go from left to right?
Yeah. Yep. We'll start there because that's kind of the same issue that we were looking at. So this is our issue 1. I have all the variant covers. They're all sold out at this point, but beautiful work. All slightly different. Like you get a nice good feel of what Path of the Pale Rider's about. You know what I mean? It's like Marco's cover is always amazing because he will tell a story with his cover. Like he'll give you a really clue of what's going on in this issue if you just look at what's happening on his page. So I always appreciate, the extra that he puts into it. And he did I don't know if you noticed, Peter, but in issue number 1, he plays with like a lot of reflections. Like reflections on glass, reflections on like pools of blood, reflections in like people's eyes, stuff like that. And I thought that was really cool. He kind of had that theme going the whole issue, and I'm happy to show people. So it's like we got zombies. Now remember, our zombies are different. They're not brain-eating cannibals. They're just having a bad day. It's like it's still you in there. It's like your body dies, but your soul doesn't leave your body. So you get to experience your own decay phase, which is gruesome and disgusting. And it's for all life, not just people, but animals, insects, everything. Nothing gets to leave. Nothing gets to rest. So the big, antagonist in issue number 1 is Big James the bear. He's a gigantic black bear who's hanging out on I-93 and doesn't like when anybody's on his road, so he'll make it your problem. And then of course the throwback to the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly movie cover, which Everett Watkins did. And it's like we were talking about having like that Western tie to the comic and to this cover. It's the cowboy and the sun setting, the smoking gun. He really did a nice job. I'll have to show you his new cover. It's crazy. His new cover is crazy. So yeah, I mean, like we're 10 years into the apocalypse. It's like I try to pay homage to all those different comics that have inspired me. So like right here, you really get that Walking Dead vibe, when the cowboy on a horse in the apocalypse. So it's like I'm a huge Robert Kirkman fan, so you'll see that come out. Nice. Now we went back and I had Marco color some pages in issue 1 so people could see what it would look like in color, because our intention is to color all the episodes, all the issues. Excellent. But we just didn't make it to that stretch goal the first time, and it was more important to us that the story got out there and people could start reading and following and, become a fan of the world. And then we know at some point we'll get there, right?
Yeah.
So this is a colored page from there. This actually was a really good choice too, because some people were like, they couldn't understand what the whoosh was. And people are like, what is that? And I'm like, well, that's kind of the whole point. Have you ever watched that scary movie where the protagonist, your main character, they're looking somewhere else and then something like runs between you and the camera? You know what I mean? It's like you don't know what it is, but it just scares the pants off you. It's like that's what that moment is. And people have to remember that I come from a production background. So when I'm writing, I'm thinking screenplay, I'm thinking, live action. That's very cinematic. That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
So that actually helped when he colored that page for people to see, like, oh, that's the blown out insides of the car. We're looking through the car at Jude when someone crosses in between Jude and that camera. And of course, he pulls his gun. And I love this page for a couple of reasons. This one, it shows the disc. So, like, they all wear these contraptions that amplify their heartbeat. You get both the line, but if you tap it, you'll also hear the heartbeat, like it'll amplify through the speaker. So everybody wears these. What's that?
I said right.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that in this world they all wear it so they can kind of tell each other if they're still alive. So that kind of
like
showcases
the blood test from the thing. Like
yes, that's exactly what it is. It's like, how do we know? Because remember, 10 years into the apocalypse, a lot of the undead are doing things to themselves to alter themselves, to either appear still living. You know what I mean? And it's like, this kid could have died an hour ago, so he still looks like he's alive, you know? So there's really the only way to tell the difference is if they still have a heartbeat. So he just kind of has to know what he's dealing with. So you can see he pulls the gun on the kid, still pointing the gun in the kid's face, even when he sees it's a kid. But it's like once he knows he's alive, he puts his gun away. So
sweet.
But this gentleman, this young man, is actually the son of one of our backers. We had this reward level in the first campaign where they could do like they called it immortality. People could back us and then become part of the comic. We would draw them in. So this young man is actually the son of one of our backers. So he is now immortalized forever at 15 in a book, which I thought was really cool. So this page I would love to see in color. I can't wait for Marco to do this one where it's like, it's a quiet moment. It's just Jude and Prince. It's night. There's a fire going. He pulls out his book to read his journal. And it's like the sky is open. You can see the Milky Way, It's just, it kind of gives him that moment to still appreciate the beauty in the world.
Right.
But of course, we ruin it.
That's what I love about the first issue. Like it just, you take in his surroundings, his world, and the subtleties.
Yeah. That's what he does. He kind of just takes everything in, and he's been by himself for a long time. So it's kind of, he doesn't talk much. He talks to the horse, but that's his only companion. And it's just kind of, it's a quiet, it's quiet in the beginning. There isn't a lot of dialogue at all. We have pages where there's no dialogue. So it's just really interesting, And of course, in this very last panel, the wolves show up. Snap. He's like, "Oh, my night is ruined," pretty much. So Marco drew this great wolf, and he's like, "Oh, nice doggy. Oh shit, you brought your friends." So good moments there. I just love it, like how I can just see Jude like standing in the background going like chicken shits like at the wolves because they took off. He's like, "Come back and fight." This will be nice too in color to see that luscious landscape, Marco loves to just draw in all this detail, man.
Yeah. Like I said, it's beautiful work. It's, really well done.
And so on this page, we actually get what Jude's doing, kind of. Like he's looking for something, right? So he he comes up to this farm. There's a lady and her daughter, and it's an interesting moment because you get to see more people besides just Jude and like the wild, right? So, what I was trying to do here is to show people like, one, he's being respectful. He's staying on one side of this big stone fence. He's asking for directions because he's lost. And she doesn't trust him. Of course she doesn't. Why would she? So she just, gives him some vague directions. She doesn't know who Dwayne Fink is. That's the guy that he's looking for. He says he has important information. And like, he asks for water. She doesn't want to leave her kid there, but she does. She tells the kid, don't leave the yard. In other words, stay right here. Don't get in trouble. And then Jude has this nice moment with the girl where he kind of confides in her. He's like, Prince's name is actually Diana Prince. So, little Easter egg for the people there.
Yeah.
And of course, we have this great moment with the horse and the kid. She's petting the horse nuzzles her back, they giggle. The mom brings the water back and goes. And now we're into the 8-page preview that we had for the Kickstarter, right? So we're back on this road. We've seen this, the glass that he dives and picks up. It's a map of Las Vegas. Dun, dun, dun. Wonder what that means. Wink, wink. I love how Jude calls himself out on stuff too, where he's just like, how was I thinking? That was stupid. Because it was like, what are you doing? Goes around this corner, sees this giant bear being eaten by crows. Did you like this bear, Peter? Check him out.
It was a cool bear.
Yeah. We actually found a reference for that. They dug up, it was a bear that was like half decayed and then frozen. That's what it looked like. I was like, dang, Marco. That's pretty close. And of course, the whole point of issue number 1 is that your decisions have consequences, right? So Jude stopped to pick up this glass. Probably shouldn't have, but shoved it in the bag and kept going. And when Prince trips, out it comes and crash and then splash page.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know. So Marco colored this page too. I'm actually going to be giving this one away. Is our first stretch goal. So I'll be giving everybody a copy of this in color, which turned out really nice.
So as a print?
Go ahead, Peter. Go ahead.
As a print?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah. All right. Can we move on to number 2? Should I spoil it?
It's your book.
I mean, people can read it for free if they go to Webtoons or Global Comics. So I'm okay spoiling it at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's go to number 2. I want to talk to you about what happened and how you felt about it. So, of course, this is the direct result of waking up Big James. This fantastic page. Now, I love his paneling where it's like little, big, little, and then just giant at the bottom. Everything's off kilter and like overlapping. It gives it a very frantic feel to it,
Yeah, it's action.
Yeah. It's like, here comes this bear. I love like, it looks like the Millennium Falcon going into like hyper.
Yeah, with the line.
Right?
Yeah.
The speed lines. It's just like, we're not going to make it, and they don't. Man, I have a healthy respect for bears. I'll tell you that much.
Don't mess with them.
Nope. They can run faster than you. They can swim. They can climb trees, and they're insanely fast. They're so lethal. They'll kill you. They'll kill you quick. So, all right. So Jude gets right off the bear, hits his head, probably. That poor Big J. He's ripping chunks out of poor Diana Prince. That's not good.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this moment where it's like we see the reflection on Jude's eye right before he passes out. So I like that moment right there where it's like, whoa.
Right.
So what did you think when you got to this page?
I thought, well, if he doesn't like totally devour the horse, then the horse is technically still alive, right?
This is true.
Other than that, I was thinking, let's see, I'll flip through my book so I'm there. What's up, kitty cat? Yeah, what was I thinking? Well, I think at that moment I was thinking, okay, he's knocked unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's probably not a world you want to be knocked unconscious in. So that was my immediate thought.
You know what? In this situation, it probably saved his life because the bear was occupied with the
Right.
horse.
Yeah.
And if Jude wasn't knocked out, who knows? He'd probably try to save that horse and he wasn't gonna make it. You know what I mean? Like that bear would have eaten him. So
Yeah.
that's probably what saved his life.
Good point.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, look at this moment too, where it's like he's waking up. It's like I threw in a Lethal Weapon quote. It's like I'm too old for this shit.
Right. Yeah, I noticed that.
And of course, this. So this in color will hit so much harder, don't you think? I mean, like when he colors this blood pool,
Yeah.
it's just like she was just dragged off.
My buddy.
I know. He was
My
so
transportation.
sad. Everything. It's like my transportation, my buddy, my confidant, all his stuff. He had like a yard sale. It's just everywhere. It's like when Charlie Brown like throws the baseball and it gets hit back at him and he flies out of his clothes and stuff like that. That's what basically happened to Jude. His stuff is just everywhere. You know, but he has this nice quiet moment. I don't know if people can tell this. This will stick out when it's color, but on the bottom panel where he's looking into the blood pool, the thing that's on his chest is not his disc. It's actually the star that was on Prince's forehead is now left in the pool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that'll come through once
I
it's
did
in
notice
color.
the star on the horse.
Yeah.
I didn't get that looking into the pool. But
I know it was like, dang it. And I'm like, that moment's not gonna hit quite as hard. People can't, I know people wouldn't be able to, so I was like, I'm just gonna point it out. So, but I love how Jude owns it. You know what I mean? He's just like, this is my fault, you know, and he's right.
Yeah.
But this kind of explains him on this last, you know, second to last page. It's like, just gotta keep going. You pick up pieces because the answer's out there. And I'm gonna find it no matter the cost. You know, it takes a minute, picks up his hat like he's Indiana Jones. The hat always comes back.
Yep.
Takes a moment and says, you better be worth it, Dwayne. And he's off to Santa Claus. So good times. Here's our riddle. We need more people to solve this riddle before the next one comes out. People would be solving the second riddle, haven't solved the first riddle. Come on, peeps. And I gave like a ton of hints how to solve this. This is called a red reveal. So there's red and there's blue.
Right.
So you open your comic to the crossword page. Can you do that for me?
There's the red thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And you put that, and you look at this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then the blue will pop out.
Well, I can already see the blue just looking at it.
Right.
And
what's it say?
Search and...
Well, there's the arc that goes around the skull. That says search and you will find.
You will find, yeah.
But there's
There's
stuff
more.
on
There's more
there's
to
more.
it?
Yeah, on the left side.
I'll look it up later unless you want me to do it now.
I'm okay if you spoil it because I would just be happy that people like solve the riddle and join the thing. Because there's a thing. It sends you to a thing.
Well, Yeah, I see a lot of letters. There's some stuff down here. Mostly it just freaks my eyes out.
Oh.
I'd probably have to look at it for a while. So
All right. No
we can move
problem.
on.
I was like, if you spoil it right now, I'm cool with that, but you don't have to do it right now.
It's a fun little thing.
Yeah, it's just something we do for fun. Like the next one, I'll show you the next one on the next slideshow.
I like the thing you did in the front inside cover with the special thanks to, and it's everybody's name. Although, like, you know, I'm sure a lot of people like, where the hell's my name? Like, it's hard to find.
It's like, where's Waldo? You gotta just search and
Yeah.
find. You find it. I think everybody did a good job and found it. So
Yeah.
do you want to put up the next slideshow for me?
Sure.
Thank you. All right. So here we are with number 2. Marco's covers again.
Yeah, that's cool.
So here he's showing Jude stomping out a guy. Just gun blade, you know, like gun swinging.
Another Saturday night, you know.
Yeah, it's just another day for Jude. But it's like, I think what he was trying to say is just like the hard path that Jude has to take, you know, where it's just constant violence, constant threat. So it doesn't matter where he goes, it's the same. And that's kind of what we're doing with, like, in the background, you see Big James the bear, but you also see a dude. And it's like, the dude is kind of like interspliced in with the bear. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that danger of Big James is still there.
Okay.
In the lovely town of Santa Claus. I changed this episode slightly, but I did different letters on this. But this is the B cover by David Rodriguez. It's pretty cool. Poor
Nice.
Jude. It's not a good look for him, though. We're going to be introducing some American Sign Language. 100% swear words.
Cool.
So people can look forward to stuff like this. Here is the back cover of issue number 2 with the lovely riddle. So since we're introducing American Sign Language, the riddle is, of course, in American Sign Language. So if you translate these, it gives you the riddle. And if you can solve the riddle and send it to this email, something will get sent to you in the mail.
Sweet.
I'm not going to say what. It's really cool, though. Oh, and one of the other cool things, like I revamped all the reward levels, and I'm doing some really cool exclusives too. Last time I did the interviews, and we talked about in depth about how the world works.
Right.
A lot of people were asking, like, "Hey, have you ever thought about writing a choose your own adventure?" I was like, "No," but after like the 6th person asked me that, I was like, "Okay, I'll freaking do it." So I wrote a 60-page choose your own adventure. That's going to be one of the reward levels that you can get with issue number 2. So I have to say, it's pretty hard. I've only had one person make it to the halfway point, and I beta tested it with probably like 15 people. Everybody dies.
So how does it work? Is it like going to a webcomic and you just click on certain things, or
I'm going to print it. It's a book. So it's like those old school choose your own adventure books that you used to get as a kid.
So you just go to page whatever if you choose that, and gotcha.
Yep, it'll be like, if you choose this, turn to page 4. If you choose this, turn to page 5. Right. So it's a physical book. You'll get to use it, again and again and again until you finally make it through to the end. And good luck. But yeah, so it's like, dear reader, remember these rules. The death process is broken. This applies to all living things, humans, animals, insects, etc. Can all come back as undead if you dispatch them. Assume everyone will undead you if given the chance. Nothing is as it seems. Use this logic and you will survive. Probably not, but good luck anyway. So it's fun. You get to run bounties in the West. There's a few different bounties you can choose from. And I think I give you like a halfway point. Like if you actually make it back alive and make it back to the saloon, then there's like the second half of the book. So if you mess up in the second half of the book, you just start back at the halfway point at the saloon instead of starting all the way back at the beginning. So
right. Nice.
But David Rodriguez is doing some interior art, and then it'll be a double cover, so spread all the way across, by Marco DeFillo. So, I mean, David's icons are just amazing. That skull is awesome. And
I like it.
I have some really gnarly deaths that he's going to illustrate. So,
sweet.
Yeah. And then here we are in the comic. Hooray! So here we are in actually these aren't even the updated pages. Shoot. We've done some work on these, so they're actually a little nicer. Marco went back and added some more of those immortality backers as zombies. So it's really funny. You can see yourself as a decapitated head.
Nice.
You know, fun times. But it's like, here's good old Santa Claus. They are not friendly to undead. They leave them hanging on the street posts, and they like to use them as decoration. This one here in the middle where it's like, this way to the saloon. It's just his arm and his torso. That's gross.
Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. I mean, in this world, it's like zombies are just like an everyday thing to them. It's just like traffic, you know?
Right.
So here's Jude going in the bar. I think the sheriff points him out to the bartender, like, yeah, you got a stranger. They're not used to that. And the barkeeper's like, hey, did BJ get you? And he's like, who's, BJ? He's like, yeah, Big James the Bear. Between the rock slides and BJ, we never get any new people, from I-93. He's like, Stewart went down that way and didn't come back. Stewart could have been the guy with the glass. Who knows? He's like, you got to have a really, powerful reason to be here. And he's like, yeah, I've been looking for this guy. He's very important. He's like, oh, he's important, is he? Who is he? And he's like, yeah, his name is Dwayne Fink, and he has substantial information. Have you heard of him? He's like, oh, today's your lucky day. He's right over there. And Jude turns, and it's, of course, this crazy drunk guy. So he's like, this guy on the left that's talking is actually the guy from the cover. And his name is Jimmy. So Jimmy says, let me get this straight, Dwayne. The man of gold found the fountain of youth. And he's like, no, Jimmy. Gold lives forever because he snared death. It's like, and how old did you say he was again? He says, let me see. Down some beer. He's at least 102. No, 103. Spills his beer on this guy. This guy with his glasses, I feel bad. He gets just dumped on. But then here, like, this page is amazing. But look at the difference. I mean,
yeah, it's a gorgeous page.
It's gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
And of course, Jimmy says, I smell bullshit. He's like, no, no, no. Now he's getting upset. He's climbing on the table and swinging his beer around, spilling his beer on the guy again. he's just spouting nonsense. He's like, we're getting judged. The wrath of God is upon us, and telling you, he knows the answer to where death went. And then, of course, he falls off the table.
Of course.
Sheriff shows up. It's all right, Dwayne. What happened? You get all excited. Let's go sleep it off in the drunk tank. And then this last panel with Jude. So, of course, the bartender's confused. He's like, are you sure that this important guy you're looking for is Dwayne? He's like, I'm not, entirely certain. And, of course, Jude is like, yeah, that's him. He says, and then he says under his breath, kind of, he's like, the things I have to do to get information. And the bartender's like, what? He's like, oh, never mind. So something's coming. Jude's going to do something. But that sucks, man, to be looking for this guy for years and find out he's just like the town drunk.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, not even drunks aren't drunk all the time.
This is true. And just because they sound crazy doesn't necessarily mean that they are crazy.
Yeah.
Especially in a world where like the dead walk, it's like there could be any reason whatsoever that it could be true. It's like if the dead walk, then it's like, yeah, we can have viruses, we can have aliens, we can have the rapture, we can have government conspiracy, we can have all those things. Because every single one of those is crazy.
Absolutely.
So that's what I got for you about the second issue. I need to include, there's 2 other variant covers that I just released this week. One is all red, and it's like, it's a Christmas tree. It looks like that Christmas tree from Charlie Brown that's kind of sparse and like a lot of twigs.
Right.
But since we're playing with the idea of Santa Claus and we're going to be fulfilling in December, it's a Christmas tree, but it's covered in zombie parts. It's the goriest Christmas tree you have ever seen. Man, it's really a good job. And that one is Everett. So the guy that did the cowboy, the good, the bad, and the ugly cover, he came back and did another variant. So he tackled the Christmas tree of terror.
Right. Cool.
And then I have a 4th cover that's in the works by Rich Parada, and he's doing a poker game. So at the saloon, at the table where Jude has a winning hand and everybody is surprised in the background. So.
Yeah, I saw that. Rich used to be my assistant way back when.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I didn't know that. Small world, right?
Yeah.
We're all connected in some way. I'm working for Rich too. I'm flatting his one that just went to Kickstarter. The roaring.
Yeah.
The Roaring 20s, that one.
Right, yeah.
I'm helping him doing the flatting on that one. So help him color a little quicker.
Cool.
Yeah. So we go live September 30th. It's coming up really quick. I feel like it's going to be here in a blink of an eye.
Yeah. 2 weeks flies by.
Yeah, it's like, it really is. It's 2 weeks. It's 14 days. We're ready to go, though. The only thing that's left is Rich's cover to be finished, and then I'm doing the short film. The riddle's done, like I said. We just have to do some design stuff. Like I have to design T-shirts, and I did the keychains already, so I know what I'm doing for that. We have a limited edition sticker that's coming out for the early birders, and I made that actually a little more exclusive. The last Kickstarter we did, I had that level that was available the entire time, and it was just like limited of, I think, 25, but not everybody chose that one. So it was around for like, I want to say 28 of the 30 days. It's not really an early bird if it's around for 28 days.
No, the cutoff is 26 days.
Right. So I did a limit of 25, and then also limited the time frame on it too to 1 week. So if you want that early bird sticker, people, for your collection, got to get on in the first week and back the project so you can get one of those. I'm doing, like I said, the Choose Your Own Adventure book. I'm doing what's called a zombie starter pack, so you can get a PDF of issue number 1 along with issue number 1 of Avalon and Rays, which are 2 of my buddies who do indie zombie comics as well. Race, I think they just funded issue number 5, so they're quite a bit ahead of myself and Brandon, who does Avalon. He just finished issue number 2. He just got his comic books in the mail, so I'm excited to get that one. It'll be nice. Mm-hmm.
I should mention, like, I got your link down below.
Oh yeah.
Go sign up for anybody who's interested.
Yeah, pre-launch, baby.
Yeah.
That way you can get on and get the good stuff before it disappears. Some of the higher tiers, I have that immortality level again. I have one called The Bones of Despair, which is something I've kind of kept under wraps. It's something really different. But I always talk about how, like, there's no escape. And even if you're a pile of bones, you're still in this world. Like, you're still in your pile of bones. Right. So that's a super secret reward. But it's really cool, I gotta say. If you like collectible things, this is right up there. And then I have Funko Pops. So we made a Funko Pop of Jude St. Clair, which only one person got last time, but everybody was clamoring that they wanted them. So I'm going to re-release the Jude St. Clair in a different color box. Limited edition of, I think I'm limiting to those to 50. So if people want the Jude St. Clair Funko Pop, it's available up to 50. And then there's going to be a single Funko Pop of Big James the Bear for someone.
Nice.
I think it has someone's name on it already, but you never know. And then the lady that did the singularity level last time, she was like, if I don't get that, I'm going to be mad. I was like, well, you got to get on there then. Like, I have no control. If someone else sneaks in there and she'd be mad. Yeah. She knows where I live too. She'll find me. Yeah. I was like, just let her have it. What are you drawing? I've been watching you, and I'm like, I can't tell.
It's just doodling. Let's see, I can
cowboy
do this. Yeah, it's funny because like when I was young, my father was still alive, and he'd randomly pull out some paper and grab a pencil or a pen and start drawing cowboys and horses and stuff. It's like he was skilled as an artist. Like he and his friend co-owned a paint store, like House Paints in Manhattan.
Okay.
Back in the day, and but he used to draw like the signs, like we're having a sale on this paint or whatever, for the store. Like he had some artistic ability, and I used to just watch him draw when I was young, and it was just all cowboys and horses and stuff. It's like it was sort of in the genes because I'm one of 4 brothers and we're all artistic to a certain degree, and
nice. Yeah.
And it's like my mom didn't have any artistic ability, like not with drawing, but she was creative. I mean, you can't be a mom and not be creative.
We're always making Halloween costumes.
There you go. Halloween, or just to entertain us kids, like,
right.
You got to be creative.
Absolutely. Was your dad a fan of the spaghetti westerns?
I think he appreciated them. He's into sports. Like he was a bowler. That was his sport of choice, and him and his friends always, played throughout the year, and it seemed like when we were really young, we used to go away every winter, midwinter, to some big hotel because he won some tournament.
Cool.
Yeah, so it was always a fun adventure. Gosh, I remember me and Jimmy loved running around the hotels when we were really young,
Mm-hmm.
and we told our parents we're gonna get lost, and they're like, okay, be back by
Bye.
whatever.
Right.
And
Can you imagine
the
doing that now?
yeah, you couldn't get away with a lot of stuff. But it was literally like the middle of winter, and only half the hotel was built. Maybe it was renovations or something. But
Oh
we
no.
went to like the far off side of the hotel, and it was just like plastic hanging from everywhere, walls missing, and all sorts of things going on over there. It's like
Oh
we
no.
shouldn't be here, but this is cool.
It's like, dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, you made it out alive, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But I just asked because that's how I was exposed to westerns.
Through the
Specifically like Clint Eastwood and the spaghetti westerns.
so
Um,
good.
because my dad would watch them and I was like, I could sit here and watch or I could do something else. So I just sat and watched. So it's like I honestly couldn't tell the difference between all the movies except for The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly back then, because it had the cool music. But it's like as I grew up, I'm like, oh yeah, that's Fistful of Dollars. So it's like you know what I mean? Or The Pale Rider. There's a
Yeah.
movie, a Clint Eastwood movie called The Pale Rider. And that was actually part of the influence for the title for our book.
What was that the one with where he goes to town and gets everybody to paint it red?
If you
Is that
painted it
that
red,
one? Yeah.
is that the one? I think that is the one. But there's another one where he was no. What's that one?
Oh, I just I get them
You know
all
what I
confused.
mean? They kind of all run together at times because the plots are similar. The Pale Rider is where he comes to a town and he starts like kicking out bandits and stuff, but he's
Yeah.
actually the angel of death.
Yeah.
So he's not actually alive. And at the end of the movie, he just kind of like disappears. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? He
yeah,
was never really there. I know which one you're talking about, where it's like he makes them all, he paints it all, makes them paint it all red because it's like he was actually dead as well. It's like he was hung or whipped, and
yeah.
you know what I mean. And it's like he has like PTSD. I don't know if he's like a spirit and he's coming back for revenge, and makes them paint everything right. It's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
And it's like every time someone cracks a whip, he like freaks out a little bit.
He flinches. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
those movies are so good. The music and just I mean, a movie like that couldn't be made today with the same sort of quality because everything is
Right.
more fast paced and it's got to you got to throw 18 things and every 10 minutes and
It's been very
no,
Hollywood. You know what I
yeah,
mean? They turn it very Hollywood.
yeah,
That was,
um,
a big concern of mine because originally this was a screenplay. This is a full-length
ah,
movie. 13 issues that I've written were actually a full-length movie all put together. But I didn't know where to go with it, being a first-time screenwriter and having no clout. You know what I mean? Everybody that is in production that I've talked to or has read it or heard the synopsis has all told me to pitch to Netflix. They're like, your show would be on Netflix for sure. I'm too afraid that Netflix will be like, here's $5,000, thanks for your script, and like just tear it apart. You know what I mean? Bring in other screenwriters, make it very Hollywood, change my characters. Um,
well,
yeah.
I mean, like I was trying to crowdfund a book recently with my friend Mark Torres, and he describes the book that we had was a 5-issue miniseries, a complete story.
Hmm.
Uh, because he went to a school for comics back in the day in New York, and he wanted to pitch his comic to a publisher, and the advice he got was, don't give him your baby, give him something you're willing to give away. So
Right.
if Pale Rider is your baby, then write something else to give to them.
Yeah, and I have a few other things. I do. I have like 3 other things that I've been working on for a while, and it's like I decided that once I get through the second arc of Path of the Pale Rider, I'm gonna go back and clean up this other series that I did called The Agency, which is like completely different. It's like spies and martial arts and espionage with good twists, and it'll keep you guessing what's going on.
Right.
But I wrote 2 arcs that were only 6 issues, so it's a lot shorter, a lot more concise. Like, this is kind of like my Magnus Opus. How do you call? What do you say? Magnus Opum?
Opus?
Opus Magnum
Yeah.
Opus? That's it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. It's like I'm saying it wrong.
Close enough.
Right. I'm like, you know what I mean? The thing. But it's so big, you know what I mean? Where I wrote The Agency as like a web series. So it's like 6 episodes, and then that season is done, and then we could start another one.
Right.
But still has a lot of potential. And I wasn't done, like I hadn't wrapped up all the ends for that either. So could do more with that. I have like a one shot that's called The Red Queen. That's pretty good too. It's chess related humor and lots of violence.
Okay.
It's hard to explain. It's like a mob situation, but then I applied chess logic to it. Like how you play a chess game is how the story actually plays out. Like building your offense, like moving your pieces around the board, setting up the end game.
Right.
Stuff like that. And then I have another one that I have not worked on in a long time, which I would love to get back to. It's more of like a supernatural superhero realm, kind of like Constantine, the world of John Constantine, like that.
Right.
But not Constantine. Okay, I'm not doing Constantine, obviously, but something like
Constantine Jr. No.
Right. Like that kind of idea, like angels and demons crossing over to the superheroes in all of that, blah blah blah. Yeah. So I got one of those too. So
did you ever get a book published? I'm curious.
No, this is Path of the Pale Rider is my first one that I'm doing, which of course is self-published.
Like novels?
No.
Any interest in novels?
I mean, I don't know. I see visually.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could. I'd have to throw in so many adjectives, it'd be ridiculous. You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to describe something that I can see playing out live action in my head. So that's why I think something like comic book, graphic novel works so well for my work, because you can see Dwayne Fink up on the table teetering on one foot while he spills his beer. But I don't have to describe that to you. I only have to describe it one time to somebody else, and then he draws it. And then everybody else can communicate visually with me and see what's going on in the scene. So
comics is a visual media.
Yeah.
Although mostly it's, fists flying and things blowing up and
Oh, I do that too. I don't think I blow anything up in this episode, but I have plenty of episodes where we blow shit up.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I should rename that episode. I have one episode where I should just call it Blowing Things Up. Because we blow everything up.
Sweet.
So yeah, I just finished 20, I want to say 21. So 13 gets you to the end of the first arc. So then I did 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 8. Yeah, I'm 8 issues into the second arc. So I'm slightly past half.
Nice.
So I'll probably do another maybe 12 or 13. I'm going to see how quickly I can wrap it up. I'm not a big one for a fluff. So if I have 12 issues, that's it. We're only doing 12. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, throw a fluff in there so we can have 13. because the last one had 13. Nah. Nobody cares if Jude takes knitting classes. Nobody wants to read that.
Yeah, I see that too much in modern media, whether it be comics or films or shows or whatever. Like it's
right.
There's a lot of padding. There's a lot of could have done with all that.
Yep. I mean, that happens a lot with action. I don't want to throw a show under the bus, but Walking Dead. I'm going to throw you under the bus, Walking Dead. Because the TV show would be like, you have a big premiere, you have like 4 episodes where some things happen, but really nothing happens. And then you have like a mid-season finale where everything burns down. And then you have like the second half of the season, that premiere is big. And then you have another 4 episodes where nothing happens, and then the finale. That's how they do it. You know what I mean? Where it's like, well, we had to have stuff where episodes where nothing happens, so that way the ones where something does happen is that much more impact. And I'm like, can't you just like spread it out?
It's it's everything's a reason or excuse, and it all sounds like excuses for the most part. But
I agree.
I it's like I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Walking Dead, and I'm basically
the comic, right?
Gonna watch.
Show.
Well, the comic I loved. I've only read the comic up to 50 or 75. I forget what issue I stopped at. I'm going to go back eventually and finish it. But hey, Marsh, welcome.
Hey, hello.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and eventually read the rest of the series because there was nothing
really
like before that,
and it's so different.
So well done. Yeah. And the show, it had its moments. It had greatness. And it still, lands a couple of times, like here and there. But it's not the show it used to be. But I'm going to watch it all because I'm curious more from a creative standpoint, how it all fits together, if it does.
Yeah. I stopped watching.
Yeah.
When was it? I think it was the mid-season when the Watchers were there with Alpha.
Right.
I don't think it was intentional. It was just one of those things like something happened on that next Sunday or when they came back from break, and my husband and I couldn't watch it at the same time. And then, so we didn't turn it on. Obviously it wasn't on. And then another week went by and we missed it again. And then at 3 weeks out, we were like, we don't know what's happening. You know what I mean? So then it's just like, well, now we have to wait until it's on Netflix. And we just never got back into it. Now everything's on streaming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think everything I watch is on streaming. Like I'm watching Jack Ryan on Amazon Prime. I'm watching, of course, Lord of the Rings and She-Hulk and House of the Dragon. Those are all the new ones going on right now. And those are all streaming.
I'm watching She-Hulk. She-Hulk's okay. It could have been so much better, but it's okay.
That last episode was fluff, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's all kind of. I'm expecting something to actually happen in the show.
Who the heck is Daredevil?
Yeah.
I thought for sure he was going to be on this week. Nope. Fluff.
I haven't watched Lord of the Rings. I'm not sure I want to. We'll see. But I am watching Game of Thrones, and I think that's really good so far.
I think that one's so far been the best. The guys that are doing it were directors and writers from season 6.
Oh, okay.
Which was like Battle of the Bastards and Hard Home. If you remember those two episodes, that one guy was, well, he just quit though. But the other guy, I think his name is Ryan something. He's still showrunner of the show, and he was also involved in season 6. So I think it's in capable hands, and there's source material from George R.R. Martin, so they can't mess it up too bad.
Well, I don't know. None of that matters. It's like,
it's a show.
I'll take it as it comes. I'll watch it as it comes, and like the moment it fails, then maybe I'll walk away. But
I mean, no one's forced to watch anything. If you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
like it, you don't have to watch it. Lord
Um,
of the Rings is actually not bad. I was going in there expecting much worse, so maybe that's why
maybe.
I'm okay with it. Some of the stuff I'm like, it's like I don't really need to know this. It's like they're picking really weird parts to pull out and explore. So maybe I
Right.
just don't see the big picture yet. It had some really good. The visuals are awesome. The dwarves are amazing. Um, there's a fight scene with some prisoners and a warg, but they're using their chains to fight.
Right.
The fight choreography was absolutely amazing. And coming from a martial artist, that means something. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
used to choreograph fights, so to watch this fight and to be like, wow, I'm like they really went outside the box here. It was really good. But so it has its moments, but I mean, I thought that Resident Evil had its moments too, and everybody hates that show.
Yeah, no desire to watch it. I watched all the movies mostly because Mila was in it, but
Yeah.
uh, you know, I'll give you two shows recommends, but I did want to ask you about one show.
Yeah.
Have you seen Open Range?
No, but that was recommended to me. And what was the other one with Josh Brolin?
That is the one with Josh Brolin.
That's the one with Josh Brolin? There's
Yeah.
another one. There's 2 of them. There's one with Jeff Bridges, and then there's one with Josh
Jeff
Brolin.
Bridges.
They're both
Ah,
Westerns that have been recommended to me. I think they're both on Amazon Prime. So they're on my list, so don't spoil them
no.
for me. I haven't seen them
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. But two good shows. One is
Yeah.
called Severance.
Severance. I haven't heard of that one. What's that on?
Um, I don't even know. I just watch everything. Um,
Because I don't have Hulu and I don't have Paramount Plus. So if it's on one of those, I can't see it.
it might have been Hulu. I forget now. Um, but Severance, it's really good. It's one of those office type shows,
Oh,
but with a twist. That's all I'll say. Um,
okay.
and really good, really, really
I'll go
good.
find it.
Yeah, it's worth seeing. And Paper Girls.
My husband watched it. He said it was okay. We've read the comic. It's fabulous.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't read the comic, and I was like, I barely knew about the comic going into watching it. I think by the second episode I knew, but it
is it way
starts
back?
off like the first episode. I don't know what it is. It's a little dark. Like I don't know if like the budget wasn't big enough or something is a little off with the first episode, but it gets
Huh.
better. It's not a
Okay.
high budget show anyway. But I thought the characters is what makes it amazing. It's a unique situation,
Right.
but the girls were really terrific. I thought. Hey Corey, welcome, welcome. But
Yeah, the
yeah,
comic is
I thought it was
fabulous.
pretty
Weird.
amazing. Yeah,
Comic is but my husband said that the comic is way better. But again, it's like
yeah.
it's how it always is, isn't it? It's like they always have a hard time capturing the story from print, from either novels or from comics and getting it right. It's hard.
Yeah, well,
So
especially if it's something you love and you never want to see it different. So, like,
don't mess this up.
yeah, don't screw this up. Like when they adapt your book in Pale Rider, it's like
I know I'm gonna be there with a pen and paper, like, no,
you made it a bunny. It's supposed to be a giant bear. What the hell?
there, what is wrong with you? No, Jude wouldn't do that. No, characters would not wear this or think that. Back up. Because we
Too
haven't
much
met her
pink in
yet,
this
but
show.
there's a female character in this story that's pretty amazing. And if they mess with her, I'm gonna be real upset. That's why I
Yeah.
was like, no. But that was one of the reasons why we decided to make it a comic instead of taking it, through the screenplay process.
Right.
Um, because I wanted to keep control of my baby. I wanted to make sure that creatively it is what it's supposed to be, that nobody else gets their hands in there and starts changing things. So,
Yeah. Well, it's like, I don't know if you heard this, but I've heard plenty of times, like, I'm not necessarily in that like TV, movie, screenplay world. But I've heard person after person saying, if you want to pitch a screenplay, make it into a comic, because it's easy to show them the comic and say, here, read this, then
well, that's
give them a
yeah.
screenplay to read.
They ultimately during the movie making process, they will what do they call it? Storyboard, right?
Right.
So they'll do basically what we're doing is make pictures from the angles from the camera shots that they want. So they can throw different ideas around and be like, okay, how are we going to shoot Dwayne? You know what I mean? Can we show him from underneath and then on top of the table and then falling birds from forward or behind? So they play with the camera angles to try and see how it would flow. But basically, that's what we're doing with the comic. We're showing you the movie.
Yeah.
So that, and then since movies are visual, having a comic will help you get your screenplay approved, greenlit, right? That's what they call it.
Exactly.
Got the green light. So, yeah, I'm just trying to like get the story out there, get a following, get people knowing the world and invested in the characters in the story. My long-term goal is to pitch to Netflix, but at least when I have a following, it gives me a couple things. One, it gives me yes, Corey, I agree 100%. Yeah, I worked for those guys ages doing script writing and then had to do a comic to show it. That's what I mean. The Matrix was that way. They paid a comic book artist to turn the entire movie from the script to a comic book before Warner Brothers would approve it because it was just so crazy. No one had a concept of what the Wachowskis were trying to do. So
Yeah.
yeah, that happens all the time. So we're doing the work in advance. That's all. Well, I forgot what I was saying, but yeah, like long term, I'd like to pitch to Netflix, but Netflix gets so many scripts. They probably get like 8,000 scripts a day, something ridiculous, right? So they're
Yeah.
going to say, why you? Why Laurie Calcaterra? Why Path of the Pale Rider? What can you bring to the table to Netflix? Because really, if I have no following, I have no fans, they don't care about my story. They want the ones that have the pre-made butts in the seat.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
Yeah, well, Hollywood always wants a guarantee. I mean, we
Right.
kind of all want that, but it's also
Gotta start
more
somewhere.
adventurous to take the risk and just put it out there and see what happens.
I mean, like, I know the whole story and I know where we're going. And I know, like, as a reader, I know, isn't that crazy? Netflix loves to change up things, though. Changed a lot of anime when doing live action stuff all the
Mm,
time. Like that's what they always
yeah.
do is they take something and they twist it because we can't do the same thing that's in the book. That would be redundant, right? And I'm like, that's so annoying. Give the people what they want. Like we have yet to see a Resident Evil movie that's good. The live action ones, it's like give the people what they want. Damn it, that's what they
Yeah.
want. Anyway, um, where was I? I forgot.
Sitting down,
Having
I
the
guess.
guaranteed seats, da 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 da.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, look at like Bird Box.
Yeah.
Bird Box was the best-selling novel before Netflix produced it, right?
Never read the novel. Did you?
It was a novel, yeah, first. And then I mean so many things like The Umbrella Academy, Tank Girl,
Oh
300,
yeah.
it's like
They
all of
they
that
do
stuff.
yeah, they do have a ton of
Lock and
what was
Key.
previously a book or a comic or something.
Right.
Uh, and sometimes they get it right. Like I think Umbrella Academy is outstanding.
Oh, the season 1 is by far the best. It's
So much
amazing.
fun.
Like
Yeah.
so much fun, but every episode on point, like, their music was perfect, the
The
story just
actors. Yeah.
yeah. And then, like, season 2, okay, season 3, okay. But like, if you go back and you watch, I rewatched that season 1 after not watching it for a long time, and it still hits the same way, where it's like, God, I forgot when that happened with Klaus, or it's like Hazel and Cha-Cha. I forgot how crazy it was when they were dancing around in the fire because they were high, you know, like the 5 killing all those people at the donut shop. It's like, oh my God, this is such an amazing series. Um, so yeah, every now and again they do get it right. So fingers crossed, you know. Or it's like they could even animate my series and I would be happy with that too. It's like if Castlevania was fabulous.
They got a new what is it? Cyberpunk 2077 animated cartoon on Netflix.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's, you know, it's like I thought the first, whatever it is, 15 20 minutes was a little too much, but that wasn't the pace of the show. That was just like to throw you into something immediately.
Gotcha.
You know, I was like, oh, okay, I could deal with it. You know, like too much, too fast, too many colors. Like that's too intense for me to watch for too long. You know,
I'm still gonna have to go check it out just to see.
yeah.
That
But
sounds
yeah,
fun.
it calms down. It calms down a little bit, and you get into an actual story.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, they do good stuff, but you know, they're all over the place as far as quality. You know, it's like you can check it out and see if it's your taste. You know, like of
Mm-hmm.
course. Um, I thought their Lost in Space was excellent. I really like that, even though it was different
Yes.
from the original.
Right.
It was really well done.
Mm-hmm. There's been some really good stuff on Netflix, and of course, who can forget Stranger Things? That's just
Yeah. Oh,
amazing.
love it.
Um,
Love
same thing, like every season spot on.
It's like
But
me and my
again,
friends growing up, you know.
yeah, playing Dungeons and Dragons
Stuff
and
we
getting
went
into
through.
trouble, dressing up as Ghostbusters for Halloween. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that was great. I mean, but again, that's original material. So it's not like they're using a comic book or something that people have fallen in love with, and then we see the difference. You know what I mean? So there's no expectation already. I
Right.
think helps Stranger Things because for like um Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, Lord of the Rings, like all of that stuff, there's source material that people have read. And so they have an expectation going in. No one has read Stranger Things. So nobody knows what to think, you know?
Yeah.
I think that gives them an advantage. So
Yeah. What sells it is, you know, this sort of nostalgia of it.
the
You know, I
80s.
know for a lot of friends my age, you know, it's like, you know, we remember growing up and being in the 80s and whatnot, and a lot of what they show, like malls. I miss friggin'
Oh,
malls.
yeah.
And, you know, it's like
That's where we
uh,
go to the
they,
mall.
playing with your friends in the basement, some games or whatever, and you know, it's like
Yeah.
just riding your bike and getting, you know, the kind of trouble they get into is like, you know, you kind of mentioned at one point, I forget what was the point, but you know, kids back then got away with so much,
Oh, yeah.
but it was a safer world to a certain degree.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
know, but you know, it's like it's
It's like, okay, get on your bikes and we'll see you at lunchtime. You know, it's like we were gone all day. We were
yeah.
in like fields and bike paths, and it's like our parents didn't know where the heck we were. We didn't have a phone.
Oh, we'll ask you about one last show. Have you seen
Yeah.
Dark?
Which one?
Dark?
No.
Ooh,
Ooh.
Dark is I think it's 3 seasons. Was it only 3 seasons? It's I'll probably get it completely wrong, but I think it's a German show or something. I forget exactly, but it's freaking really well done. It's like it's a lot of similar things to Stranger Things in a way at the very beginning, but it turns into something else completely. But it's such it's a mind fuck, first of
Nice.
all. And it's a complete story, which is rare. It's like, we're talking about adding padding. Some people like just keep a series going beyond its point of, being any good.
Lost.
Oh man, I really wish they went with the sort of scientific direction with that.
I think
It
there
would have
was
been
a
something
writer's
like,
strike at some point in there, and it just
yeah,
derailed it. Like, between
yeah,
them and it was like Heroes. Heroes was like so
yeah,
affected by that writer's strike, everything went downhill. It's like,
yeah.
too bad.
Well, James Bond was affected. The
Yep.
second Daniel Craig movie was because of that.
Yep. So
um,
many.
yeah, but
So dark.
yeah, dark is
I'll have to look
something
it up.
worth. But you have to like freaking pay attention. There's so many characters. Everybody's important. You have to keep your facts straight.
Oh, what's that other one it was like Archive 8 something?
uh,
I'm gonna find it.
sounds vaguely
Oh, another one that's like messes with your mind.
artifact.
No, it's Archive something something.
Archive. Okay.
I'll find it because I have my iPad right here. I'll find it. Is Dark on Netflix?
Yeah.
And I can watch it.
Oh, it's
Archive 81.
Archive 81.
Yeah.
I'll check into it.
Yeah, that one is great. And it's like, again, it's like new material. It's nothing I've ever seen before. It's different. Um, this I'll tell you a synopsis. Like, this kid is hired to um restore old video film, like actual video. Dark is great. I'm gonna go check it out. Um, it's like there was an apartment building in the 20s in New York that burnt down, and someone was recording something that was important from inside of this building. So they're trying to figure out why the building burnt down, because there's all sorts of theories about it, right? Like
Right.
conspiracy theories and cults and satanic rituals, that kind of stuff. So this kid gets sent out to this remote place in New York, like in the outskirts, and is restoring these videotapes. And the people that hired him are like really secretive about everything, and like he's there by himself in this like weird place, and he starts unraveling things, and like weird stuff starts happening. It's bizarre, but it's like it's so good. But there's like moments that'll scare the pants off you, just like, oh my god, I wasn't expecting that. But really really good, like really good. Has everything in it that you would want. It has good twists, has good suspense, has some jump scares. um Hey, well, for everybody's coming on after I already talked about my comic book, I'm gonna have to do it all over again. Hail! Hail to the Wolfer.
Welcome, one and all.
Hey guys, now that we've been on here for a while, I'm Laurie Calcaterra. I'm the writer creator of Path of the Pale Rider. This I'm trying to point to it. This guy. We're a Western Apocalypse comic book series. We're going to Kickstarter on September 30th for our issue number 2. What you're seeing there is a splash page from issue number 1, where my cowboy Jude St. Clair accidentally wakes up this massive undead bear. And then bad things happen. But it's a
True
cool
story.
world. It's like, yeah, Peter got one. And it's a cool world because it's like it's different than your typical zombie apocalypse where the dead are coming to eat you. In this one, it's like your body dies, but your soul is still like trapped in your body. So you're still there. You're still trapped. The death is broken. You get to experience your own decay, and you start going crazy as your brain starts to rot in your head. So it's gross. And thank you. That's my artist name is Marco DeFillo, and he's great. Like, you should see some of his stuff. It's amazing. But yeah, so we have undead people, undead animals, undead insects. We have famine and riots and government unrest and conspiracy theories as the world kind of like tears itself apart, doesn't know what to do. So issue number 1 starts 10 years into this apocalypse. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Wolfer. 10 years into the apocalypse, and our cowboy is still looking for the answer to what caused this death process to break. So he's following around, he's researching all these conspiracy theories, and he's looking for something or someone, and we'll see if he survives long enough to get to the answer. I kill almost everybody in this series, so don't be surprised. Don't get attached. Yeah, and if you look at the page that's on there, it's like Big James is massive, but it's like you get to see some of the technology from our world. So we have a little steampunk where we've created things. Jude is wearing this disc on his chest, which shows his heartbeat, which of course is crazy because he's scared out of his mind. But it's something that the living will wear to kind of like communicate to each other that they're still living, because it'll show their heartbeat. And then if they tap it, there's a speaker on it which will go bump, 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 so people can hear your heartbeat too. But it's funny because I treat these just like everything else in our world. It's like if it's technology, we can hack it. So we have hacked discs in this world where undead might put a disc on and try to pass as living. Yeah, it's like we have the undead underground where they're trying to sneak around, and we have the undead retirement community where if the government catches you and you're undead, they toss you in there. But nobody really knows what the undead retirement community is, because once they pick you up and take you there, no one sees you again. So it's like there's all these conspiracy theories about what it actually is, you know? It's like all these urban legends and theories all kind of bounce off each other. So it's like someone thinks there's the Fountain of Youth, and someone thinks that El Dorado's out there, and someone thinks that, the rapture hit, and that the people that are left are being punished, or you know what I mean, or the government did it, or so there's so much crammed into this book. Actually, there's too much that we couldn't cram it all in one book, and we decided to do other things like the riddles and the short films. So like if you so the back cover of each issue is a riddle, and if you solve it, it actually will take you to a place in the real world. That's the back cover of issue number 1. So if you solve that, you get to interact with other people who have solved that riddle at the place. That's all I'm going to say. And then there's a riddle for number 2. If you solve that, you manage to get something in the mail. I won't say what. And then we always have a short film just kind of exploring all the extra things that you won't see because Jude just isn't there. You know what I mean? It's like we have to follow his point of view. So like our first Kickstarter, we did a commercial for the undead retirement community. So if if you're watching TV and flipping through the channels and this came on, it was like white picket fences and it's a safe place and you can come and live here during your decay phase, so you're not a threat to anybody. And it was like beautiful and serene, but then I would like splice in images of like riots and anger and violence and things on fire. So it's like it's a good juxtaposition of like what we want you to think happening versus what is actually happening.
That's like Resident Evil with the fake umbrella commercials, right?
Yeah. Oh yes. That's exactly what that is. So it's it's kind of like the corrupt either corporation or government that is putting out propaganda and wants to pull the wool over your eyes, but it's completely different. You know what I mean? Very much umbrella. Yeah. I love Westerns. I grew up watching spaghetti Westerns with my dad. And we were talking about this. It's just kind of like they all kind of run into each other until you get older. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's Fistful of Dollars or The Pale Rider or Anyway But Loose, or you know what I mean? It's just like you start watching all these Clint Eastwood movies, and then it's like, as an adult, I'm like, I've seen that, Good, Bad, and the Ugly, you know, and they start standing out. But I just, you know, it's like in this world, things have gotten so bad that they actually devolved back to the Wild West. So that's what I thought was so cool, is because it's actually in the future, but it's still the Wild West, and how people would survive if things all just went to shit.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of Western, but you also get sci-fi, you get zombie, you get horror, you get, I think when you get a little farther, we get some noir in there. It's like some detective work. And I mean, like, I just love blending all the genres. You know what I mean? It's like I Am Legend, Mad Max, Fallout, spaghetti westerns. It's like that's where I live, but it's like I also throw in Easter eggs from, like, what did I say? There's a Star Wars reference in there. There's DC references in there. There's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. There's, what was the one? Lethal Weapon. So I like, if you pay attention, nerddom just flies on these pages, all over these pages.
What's the Hitchhiker's reference? He wears
You'll have to get there. We haven't done it, and it wasn't in issue 1. But you know what the meaning of life is, right?
Right.
What is it?
42.
42. You'll see that number a lot.
Okay.
Anytime there's a number to be referenced, it's usually 42.
Do you have a number?
That's it, 42. What do you mean?
No, I mean, do you have a number that's means something to you?
42.
Okay.
42 and 11 and 7.
Because it's funny because, you know, I grew up in New York, you know, originally from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And the radio station there that I listened to a lot was 102.7.
Oh, there you go.
And I see that number a lot. Like,
really?
I look at the clock. Oh, it's 10:27. I just see it a lot. It comes up a lot.
Isn't that funny?
I guess it's like my lucky number.
What do they call it? It's like the law of abundance. It's like things come your way, they just continue to come your way. So it's like, even if it's a number, it's like you always seem to notice when that number is there.
Yeah.
You know?
And like my birthday is 409. I see that number a lot, you know. It's like different things, yeah.
Wolfer, what else do you watch besides Westerns? We haven't seen any good Westerns in a while, you know what I mean? We need that genre to come back. We need that, like,
I mean, you know, like I mentioned Open Range, you mentioned Jeff Bridges has one. I know there's I haven't seen Yellowstone, but that's kind of a Western, right?
I think I tried to watch that one. I didn't get too far.
I heard it was good. I still haven't watched it, but I heard it was good.
I think I was trying to watch it real early on, and like you know, it's one of those things where it's like you probably have to watch like 3 episodes before you get stuck. So Fallout, woo! I still play Fallout 4. That one's my favorite. Like my girls love watching me play. They're 5 and 8, and they just crack up when I play. It was glitching the other day, and this dude kept falling from the sky and like through the concrete. We had a good old laugh because he did that about 20 times. But we love hunting death claws, and they like it when I throw grenades at the cars and blow the cars up. I don't know why. They just think it's hilarious. Fun things to do. But that's my go-to.
I haven't really played video games in a long while, but I used to love what's the where you're racing around cities and stuff.
GTA.
Yeah, GTA. Yeah, I used to love just rolling people down and jumping off buildings.
Slapping people and then running away from the cops. Hurry up, hide the car. New Vegas was great too. Like that was one of the best endings where I was just like, I don't know, do I help the computer or not? Like, it's like that's where I always get stuck. It's like when it forces you to choose a path. Like in 4, it's like you either have to choose what is it called? The Institute, where your son is, and he's an old man, which is crazy, or you have to choose like Brotherhood of the Steel, or you have to choose the Railroad. So you have to choose like one of 3. And it sucks because like I want to do all the missions and get all the points so I can level up, but it's like if you get to this point, then you can't do the missions for the. You totally get it. I know that you do because you feel me. Where it's no, I can't do these missions anymore. Because it's like you chose the Brotherhood of Steel, you can't do the Railroad anymore. But New Vegas was great too. Like that was one of the first times you could run around and collect things and like cook food and stuff, and that was a lot of fun. Like what else can I make? And then didn't we have a horse at some point? I thought we did. Or am I mixing that up with Red Dead Redemption? We did have a horse? Okay. I was like, because I played Red Dead Redemption right around the same time as New Vegas, and I think I mixed them up sometimes because it's kind of the same. But yeah, New Vegas was great. Love that game. So that show was called The Old Man with Jeff Bridges.
Oh.
And I've heard good things about that one too.
Okay.
So that's on my list.
I love Jeff.
Then it must be Red Dead Redemption I'm thinking of. Wolfer. Probably. Yeah.
Let's see. Yep.
Red Dead Redemption. How many times people are always like, I killed my horse. And I'm like, you can't do it's like really hard to kill your horse. I don't know how they just like falling off cliffs and I don't know what you're doing. Stop killing your horse, dude. Meanwhile, what did I do in my comic?
Yeah.
It's all right.
You just hate horses.
If you guys like that Wolfer, I think that you would like my comic. We sound like we like the same things.
Link is below for people to go sign up.
Yeah, we have a catch-up tier too. So if you missed our issue number 1, we have a catch-up tier where you can get 1 and 2. I think I have it as an add-on digitally. So if you want to do like a digital number 1 and a physical number 2, you could do that kind of stuff too. Like I make it pretty easy to get whatever you like. Woohoo! Thanks, Wolfer.
Do you have a mustard tier?
A what tier?
A mustard tier? Because you have a ketchup tier?
I'm going to figure one out and call it a mustard tier now.
Uh-oh, stranger.
Small child. What are you doing?
Other side.
All right. She's just posting the plans.
Oh, okay.
Good night.
Night.
Sorry. It's one of those things where I'm like, okay, everybody, if I got the blue headphones on, remember that I'm live. And they forget.
All right.
They're like, hi, Mom. Hi, everybody. Go to bed.
That was like during lockdown with newscasts, weathermen, everything. It's like pets and children and
right, that famous one where the mom like crawled in and like pulled their kid out. Crawled back out.
That's hilarious.
Yes, that's awesome.
Wolfer says, "Yeah, I'm signing up for the notification on Kickstarter now."
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Trying to. Oh, and that's one thing I was talking to Peter about too. He was asking because if you look at Peter's copy, it's black and white.
Right.
So when we did our first Kickstarter, we wanted to make sure that the story got out. So we had a goal, obviously, to produce the comic, and then we had a stretch goal for color, right? So we didn't hit that stretch goal color, which understandably, we're a newer comic and our goal was pretty high. Again, I'm the writer creator and I have to pay an artist. So a lot of times when you're seeing Kickstarters that are like $2,000, that's because the artist is putting it on and they're not paying themselves. Right? So that $2,000 is how much it costs to basically print, ship, and all the merchandise, like, all the supplies that it would take. So our goal was like $4,500 because I am paying an artist. So it's like the fact that we hit our goal and we finished 116% of goal was great. Like, I'm not complaining. We didn't hit that stretch goal. The story is still out there and people can enjoy it, but we were close. Like, I think we ended up with like 5,200, and the stretch goal was like for 6 for color. So we were like, you know, so I think this time we can hit it. Our goal is the same. It's 4,500. My merch is a little different. It's a little more expensive. So I think if we get to like a stretch goal of 6,500, we'll do color from the get-go on 2. So, but I think we can do that. It's like an extra $1,300 from where we left off last time. And if I've done my research and I've grown our fan base, you know what I mean? Then we'll bring everybody along and we can all get there, because really, Marco's line work is beautiful, but his color is fabulous. You know? It's just so much better. Here's another one, Wolfer. Let me show you. So here's black and white, and here's color. It's just such a big difference, you know? So, yep. So that's why you're seeing both black and white and color pages, is we're hoping to get to that color stretch this time and just start. I would just love to start producing comic books in color. You know what I mean? And just skip the black and white. Not that I don't love it, but we're going to go back and color issue number 1 and re-release it at some point before we do, before we do like our first volume. I think our first volume will be like 1, 2, 3, 4. Second volume, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the third volume, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So those will be kind of like when you get like the omnibus collector, the hardcover, you know?
Trade.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we've been going quite some time.
I know, dude.
Is there anything you left out, or you just want to mention where people can find you online, any of that jazz?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're on all the socials. So the big one is the Facebook group. So if you would like to join, you can find it. You just search and then choose groups, and it's just Path of the Pale Rider. That's the title of our comic. So there's a group and there's a page. I recommend that you join the group, because that's where I always update first. So when I release new art, when I talk about, we play games, we do behind the scenes, we do a bunch of stuff, but it's always in the Facebook group first. We have an Instagram if that's your thing. I'm on there all the time. There's a kitty. Sorry, I got distracted. So our Instagram is at path_of_the_pale rider. So there's an underscore in between all of the words. Same thing for our TikTok. We have a Twitter. It's at pathpalerider. I'm getting better at Twitter. I kind of suck at it, but I'm working on getting better at that. I have some friends that are really good at Twitter, and they said they would help. So I'm on there. And of course, we have a website, which I'm absolutely terrible at. It's www.pathofthepalerider.com. But at least that one links you to my PayPal if you'd like to buy a physical copy. I still have a few left of the first print, first edition, right? So if you're interested in getting a physical copy of issue number 1, that's a first print. I think I have maybe 10 left, and that's it. Yeah. So that's where you can find me. All the variants are sold out, though. I think I need to go update my webpage, because I think it says that they're available. They're not. So. But that's where you can find me. Come join the shenanigans. Like, my TikTok has some corny videos on it. I'm going to be doing a lot more content after this Kickstarter. I'll have some time now that my kids are both in school to start releasing more stuff, especially because I'm from production. I was at it. I was a fight choreographer and content creator for Coattail Collective in Detroit for a while. So if you see fun stuff from me, that's I do have a YouTube page, but you just have to look up my name. It's just Laurie Calcaterra, and that'll pop up. I usually dump stuff in there after I put it on other socials. Like, cool. I think our Undead Retirement Community commercial is there if you want to see it. And then, I don't know, I think I might have some martial arts stuff on there too, because I do that. So I have like one where I demonstrate using a hair pick where I kill a honeydew. I murder it. It's funny. So you're going to get a combination of those two things on my YouTube page because that's who I am. Comic books and death, dying, destruction, and martial arts.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So get Path of the Pale Rider when the Kickstarter goes live before the Netflix series starts, you know.
Yeah, someday we're going to be there. Trust me. Everybody that once you get through the whole first arc, you're going to see why. When you get to number 8, when you read number 8, that's the one.
Cool. Well, I enjoyed it, so I advise everybody to go check it out and pick up a copy. You know, buy your mom a copy.
Right.
Christmas is coming. All that jazz.
Right. Well, Christmas is coming, and we're going to have a Christmas, so we're having a Christmas tree covered in zombie parts. So who wouldn't want that?
There you go. There you go.
Make sure you put that in the cart for Christmas. But thank you very much for having me on, Peter. I appreciate it. Always
pleasure.
good to come on and hang out and get more eyes looking on the project. But still, just hang out. We were talking about shows and stuff. That's so cool. I love it. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so if you watch this, you've never seen my channel before, make sure to subscribe, like the video, share it to your friends, all that jazz. I'll see you again sometime next week. More guests and whatnot. And Laurie will be back, and we'll do a threesome with me, you, and Allison when we can work out the schedule.
Right. So we're working on a project together, the three of us.
Yeah, we got stuff to talk about. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.